Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope that one will be fine, and welcome back to another topic. So in this video I'm going to explain you about the full stack video, but this time I have used Laravel and Vue. And in the previous video, as you have seen, that I have used Angular and Laravel. With the help of the API, we have created the API and test through it and run through the Postman. So similar way I will do here is I will create the API using Laravel, and with the help of API we can show the listing, we can work with the routers, we can work with the added, delete, and everything that include in the CRUD operations, right? So I hope you guys can really like it, and if you want to see the complete demo, even I won't show you this whole functionality, the how it's going to add it, how it's going to delete, and how the add context. So I believe that I want to give this link in the description so you can already watch it. And this whole video has already the explanation which I have created on January 19, 2020, and because I was working on the other projects for you guys, so I thought that now it's the right time to work with that, and because Vue is really popular, and I hope you guys can really love and work with that, right? So you can watch the demo before jumping into it. All right, so that's what we are going to create, and I hope you guys really enjoy that. And the first thing you need to do is to go to your htdoc, make sure your exam folder is installed. So I already have my Vue-Laravel, the name of my project. All you need to do is to just simply type here composer create project Laravel / Laravel and the name of the project. So in my case it's Vue-Laravel, right? So I have already created my Laravel fresh installation. So let's jump in and get started into the Visual Studio Code. Alright guys, so welcome back here, right? So here, the first thing you need to do if you have installed the Laravel new project, all you need to do if you have installed the git bash, you can simply click on the right click and you can open up with the Visual Studio Code by typing here code space dot, right? So that's how you can open up your Visual Studio Code, right? So now I have my Visual Studio Code open, and now I need to show you from where we will start, right? The first thing we need to do, we will go step by step. First, we will install first we will create the controller, we create the API, and creating the basic tables and everything like that, right? So I'm going to create my very first, I want to link my database first. So all you need to do is to go to your .env file, and you can type here Laravel _ Vue and save it, right? So I need to just grab this db _ database and open up your phpMyAdmin. So make sure you have your XAMPP server running, which is already open up on my. So I have my both Apache server and my MySQL are already on, and they have their actions on and the port 80. So what I'm going to do is to just simply type here Laravel _ Vue, which is the name of my database, and click and create that, right? So that's how you can see now we have created the database. And with the help of migrations, I will create the tables, right? So first thing you need to do is let's go inside your app and HTTP controllers, and inside controllers, there's no any controller, right? So now we have linked now. So let's open up your terminal. You have two options. You can you can type command using your terminal, or you can open up with your git bash. But the recommended version is that you can run your server right into your terminal. So I'm using your git bash. So here I have run php artisan serve, and just minimize that. And here I'm going to type here my controller, right? So first thing here you need to do is to create a controller. So let's create a controller by typing php artisan make controller, and the name of the controller in my case is contact controller, right? So I press enter and the controller is created successfully. Next, I need to create a model with the name of contact. So php artisan make model, and you need to php artisan model, and the name of the model should be contact -m for the migration, right? So once I type that, and that's going to create the contacts tables, and that's you can find on your that's here. You can see inside your app you have a model with the name of contact.php. All right, so once you're done with your contact.php, so you need to create here a couple of tables. So for creating your tables, I just copied from my previous code, and let's put that inside your database, which should be inside database. You have your migrations and just click on the create underscore contacts underscore table and just paste it all the fields included that. So I give it the type of string name, I give it the string of email, bio, contact number, designation, and the image, right? So make sure that all should be nullable, and with the help of that you can even because we are working on the validation as well, so it doesn't matter that if we can put that nullable, and we can restrict the by adding the empty value if we have that field required, right? So make sure that. So now I'm good with that, and let's migrate that. So if I just type here php artisan migrate and press enter, and there you can see now we have run our all migration. Users table is by default included with the other jobs table and like that. So here you can see now we have our create contacts table created. Now in order to click on here, and you could easily see we have our contacts table including all the columns which are required, which we have added in our migrations: name, email, bio, contact, designation, and the image. So they are all null by default. Alright, so now we are done with that. So the first process that I will follow, and with the same we can do it simultaneously. First we create the API, and with the help of API, let's suppose if I create here an API for the GET request for the contacts, where I will show everything that we have in our database on our main table using Vue.js as a framework, as a front-end framework. So that's how I will do. So you need to do is to go to your contact controller, but I recommend that first you need to go to your routes, right? So first create the route here, web.php, and let's do here let's add the prefix, so route, and here I'm going to define here prefix, and let's give it the name of API, which makes more sense that we are passing the API, right? So let's give it the let's add here group, and what actually group does that everything which includes in the route should have the route included for the API before every single route we pass. So what actually it means, if you still don't understand, no worries, we can show you later on. So let's create a function here, and inside that function let's first get contacts all. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to get all the contacts. So let's pass here the API route of GET request and give it the name of URL, which is GET contacts, and the name of the controller, which is contact controller, and let's pass here the name of the function, which I want very much similar to that. So the reason why I use here group route and use as a prefix, so whenever we are passing the route as an API, we have our API included with the get contact. So means API slash get contact should be included with every single route that I should pass inside this group function, right? Inside this group helper function, whatever you could say, right? Group route, right? I hope it makes sense to you. Okay, so now I need to go to my controller, which should be inside your HTTP, and let's go inside your contact controller. So the first name of the function that's I'm gonna create here. So let's create a public function get contacts, and so I need to remove that. Sorry for that. So I get the, and we need to get all the contacts. So now I'm using here Eloquent, which is the all function, but before I should use this contact as a model, I need to include that. So use app slash contact, right? And let's do here and give here return all the contacts, and just for the semicolon. All right, so in order to test this out, you can use Postman for the GET request, or you can use the simpler ways that we can use even a browser. Now I need to just refresh that because now we have our new project running on. All right, so let's insert some data and test this out. Let's give it here test, and give it here test@gmail.com. Let's give it here bio as a test, give it the number, and let's give it here the designation. For the designation, let's give it here test, and make the image empty for now, and let's go. All right, so we have now our data inside that, and let's test this out. All right, so /API/ I believe this should be get contacts. So if I go here and grab this get context and pass up here and press enter, and there you see. All right, so you have your data. Now you can see that you can get all the requests from the API, right? Now with the help of this API, I'm going to do is to work with the view, and before I jump directly to the view, I need to explain you some prerequisite of it. So you need to make sure you have your npm installed. So you have your npm installed, and so we are going to run some important commands. So follow up all the steps with step by step. So I'm going to hold this video for a second, and I will be right back. Alright, Syed, so welcome back here, and now you need to do is to install some npm and node package manager in order to work with the view. So first I'm going to type here npm install, right? So first you need to install the npm install. The next step you need to install the view. So that's going to take some few time or so. And all I'm going to do here is inside your resources, inside the JS folder, and if you can go inside your app.js, that's where we have required the Bootstrap. If you go to the bootstrap.js, that's include the Lodash and the some other pattern axios, which we will use here for our API. So let's close that up, and inside my resources, inside my JS folder, I'm going to create here the components, and as well as I'm going to create here the most important file. Inside this is the app.view, which is the main file. If you have worked on the, actually I just need to rename that and press enter. All right. Okay, so before even going to the view directly, I need to suggest you some extensions you need to install. So if you haven't installed the Vuetify, I believe VUETIFY, right? So you can install the, I have already installed that extension with the name of Vuetify-VS Code, and if I click on here, that has been a very good rating as well, and you can install that extension, right? So that's very handy extension, and that's really help you out in your highlighting your syntax and makes much things easier for you look wise. All right, so this is going to take some time, and we have a lot of we have about 4 to 5 more commands running in needs to be run. All right, so this is going to run now. After installing, so we have first install the npm install. Now next you need to do is to install your view. So let's press enter and install and press enter, right? So this is going to install the view, and in order to check this out, you can go inside your package.json file, and if you go down there, so once I just install this view, this is going to pass inside your dependencies. All right, so that's the dependencies that we are installing for the view. And next thing you need to do is to install the cross-env for the cross environment. So let's press that, enter, and later on we need even some of the commands that I need later on, but I believe it's a good way that we can follow up the step-by-step procedure. So now we have our install cross-env. Next thing you need to install the Vue-axios. As I explained that for running your API inside your axios are actually used for running your APIs as a service, right? So let's press enter and install that. Next, I need to pass some router because we need to navigate from one page to the another. So I'm also going to use here Vue-router. So just after that, I'm going to install that. So that's going to add inside your dependencies. Let's add the another one. So now I'm going to install the Vue-router for navigating my pages, and I believe that's all good. Now, it might be after that I don't want to include here the suite alert for now, because that's basically the alerts for insertion, for some insertion or for deleting some data. That's what I will add later on, right? So now we have our dependencies, the most important dependencies that we have installed, which is Vue-axios, and Vue-router. All right, so let's go inside your app.view. So app.view is actually the entry point, right? So if I go here inside my first welcome.blade, which is the main file which is created by default. So if I go inside my views in welcome.blade.php, and that's whatever you see here, you can see on your main home page. If I go here on my main home page, So that's all you could see. Now inside that home page, we need to pass something which is the ID of app, and I want to tell you later on why I'm going to use it, but so that's why we need it, because we need to run our Vue. So all I'm going to do here is to remove everything from here. That should be after the body inside your flex full dash hide, whatever it is. So let's remove that all from here and remove the content inside it. So I have removed everything here, and only the so the only thing I need to do here is, I believe I'm happy with the content too, so keep the content here. All right, so that makes a lot of sense, right? Okay, so inside the content, as I explained, that I'm going to create an ID with the app, and that's we can pass inside our app.vue for our because app.vue is the main manifest file, right? So that's how we can mount. I will explain you later on. So let's yield the content so we can pass everything, every single link that we pass here, we can use. All right, so we can, I'm also using here Bootstrap, so you can visit bootstrap.com here. So let's go into your getbootstrap.com and grab the CDN for the Bootstrap 4. So just after that, I'm going to pass here the Bootstrap link. All right, and I believe we are good for now. And I also need to pass here app.js, right? So app.js is a file where we will mount the app, and we will import all the components that's required, import all the APIs or the routes that we needed. So that's we can pass here inside the app.js file. All right, so we start after that. Let's go inside your welcome.play.php, and first I pass the ID, and let's, after the body, let's add here a script. So let's add here a script of source, because we need to mount our ID for the app. So I'm going to pass with the asset. So let's pass here, I believe this should be SS. All right, so let's put here js/app.js. all right. So I pass the asset, and I also need to pass some CSRF token and some URL, which will help us for getting our API, right? So let's pass after the Laravel, and I'm going to copy it from my code. So let's pass up here. So I have my CSRF token and with my URL, right? Saves it. And I hope we are good to go with the welcome.play file. All right, so close that up. And now inside your app.js file, I'm going to do here is to type here window.view. Let's bring up here the view here. So window.view.require view. And you already see that we have already installed the, if you can see that we have installed the view, so npm install view. So that's how we can require the view. And let's pass here, let's import the app. Now this app is coming from, that's what we have created the file here, app.view. So I'm going to import up here, import app from, let's pass here /, and give it the app.view. All right, so we include the, we pass here the import the app, and let's do here is import the axios as well. So I'm going to import here. So import view axios, which is the HTTP request, which help us for the HTTP request. So import view axios from the view-axios. all right. And next thing you need to do is to also import the axios. So import axios from the axios. All right, and I need to use the view, so let's give here view dot use, and that's where you can pass here view axios and the axios, right? So just include that up. So I'm going to copy this view axios and put here axios. All right. Okay, so because we have import this app, which is the main file as I explained, so we need to include that. So const app equal to new. Let's pass here view, and let's pass here view dot utility util, and extend it, and extend the app. So let's mount it. So $mount, let's mount the DOM, which is the ID for the app, and this ID is actually coming from the welcome.blade.php ID that we passed here, right? So I hope it makes sense to you. Okay, so we have to do one more thing here, is to pass here the app as well, right? Okay, now we are done. Let's clear the terminal and try to run this out. So in order to check this out, everything works well. So npm run dev. So we run the development, and let's see if there is an error. That's gonna usually show on your terminal, or you can check on your console. So that's gonna run, and I'm going back to my application. Let's refresh this, go inspect, and I believe there is an error. It says app.js not found. Let's refresh this, and so it says that uncaught reference error, view is not defined. Let's go inside your code and check this out. And I believe, yeah, I have missed here. This should be window.view, and that's how we can import the view inside whenever we are initializing the new view as an so we need to, as an object, so we need to, this view is coming from the window.view, right? So make sure that it should be capital V. All right, so let's go back and refresh, but before refresh this, you need to run the command with the npm run dev, and let's run this and check this out. All right, so it's running, and let's see. All right, so now Laravel mix work, and let's press the enter, and you see now you are running Vue in the development mode, right? So we are very much inside it. And if I press here Control U, and the reason why I pass here the URL, because that consists of the IP and the port number, right? So we have a local host on port number. That's the URL that we can pass when we are calling the API, and that's our CSRF token. All right, so that's gonna make sense. And the app.js, if I click on it, so everything which Webpack Bootstrap includes, so this whole module works, because whenever we are running npm run dev, so make sure that you have your this path should be correct, right? Okay, so now we are good with that. Now next thing I'm going to do here is to import my routers. So how we can import the routers is a very simple basic way, that just after there so let's import the router. So I'm going to import the router, pass here view router from, and let's pass here inside the view dash router, and let's put here, make sure that V should be capital, right? So import view router, and afterwards you can use it. So view dot use, and let's pass here view router, right? So I pass here and use that router. All right. Okay, so but it's not done yet, and I need to also import the axios, view axios. So just after my app dot view, yeah, I have already included the axios. That's fine, right? So okay, that's cool and awesome. And let's pass here some routes. So just after your view.use, let's pass here routes. Right now I just need to create two routes inside my array of an object. So it should be const, right? So inside the routes variable, I'm going to pass an array of an object. So let's give it the name of the name, and let's the name, it should be a simple home page. So I'm just adding the slash path. It's very much like a Laravel, like name routes are, and the name of the component that I need to create. So now I need to add here a component. So before I should add here a component, I need to create a folder inside my JS. Let's create a folder with the name of components, and inside components I'm going to create here for now, let's create here 3 files. Let's give it the first name to be home.vue, and next you need to create another file with the name of let's give it here contact list.vue, and the third last link for this part, for this section 1, I'm going to pass here Navbar, and that should be included in our all files. That should be extend, right? So we can later on explain everything, but before we should move here, we can go here app, inside my app.js. Let's first import the routes. So here I'm going to do pass here the components. So let's give it the name of the component, which is home. So import home from, so let's pass here dot slash js slash component slash and the name of the component, which is home, right? Okay, so just copy this and pass one more even though, yeah, and let's pass here contact list from, and pass here the name of the file, which is contact list, right? Okay, so now inside that I'm going to pass here the component, the name of the component, which in my case I want my home route to be slash, and just after here the next should be, let's pass here comma and copy this and paste it here and give it the name of contacts, and let's give it the path should be contacts, and the component should be contact list. All right, so I hope it makes sense to all. Okay, so now because I have created here navbar.view, you have a different ways of doing. You can add up directly. Let's go into the get bootstrap, go into your examples and find a very basic navbar. So let's grab the starter template, click on here and Control U, and there you see that you have your nav, right? So copy this nav tags and inside your code. So the first thing you need to do, because you're using Laravel here, so I have installed the extension, I believe, if it's work. There's a shortcut for it which I usually forget. So export, it should be export default. Yeah, I just press enter. After installing the Vuetify, you can see you just simply need to type export default and you can press tab and that's going to open up all. Okay, so inside my template, if I have, I need to just copy that again, right? So copy that up and paste it all inside your template and just remove the unnecessary things. I don't need that form, just save it, and I don't need any drop down. So just remove that inside it. I don't need any disabled link, just take that out. And now, despite of using anchor tags, we have to use a router. There's something which is a directive which is known as router-link for navigating the page, right? So just use here router-link for the closing tag, and for the href we are going to use here 2, and the path that we have defined, which is slash. All right, so we have to make sure that this link should be for my this should be for my home page, or make that all right, make this a contact and give it the name of slash contacts, and this one should be, let's copy that router, even copy this entire router and paste up here and make this home page, and this should be slash. All right, okay, so we are good here, and let's go down to your script, export default, and we don't need any styling or scoped styling, which means we can only style in the specific CS for this specific component, but I don't need that. And let's give it the name should be, which is the name of the file, which is navbar, right? So just bring up here and saves enter. Okay, so I believe one thing I have forget here. If I go inside my app.js, all right, so inside my app.js, I need to add the router. So const router, let's give it the name of the variable, new router, view router, which is coming from the import. We have already imported the router, which should be view router, right? So inside the view router, we have two different things. We have the mode and the route. So I want to explain you later on the mode history, but before going there, just simply pass here route and routes. So we pass the object, and this is gonna show me an error, or that name should be string. Oh yeah, I need to pass that inside the parentheses and saves it. All right, so let's pass here npm run dev and check this out. All right, so before I need to run npm run dev, I need to also create a template here, simple for export default, press enter. All right, so just remove the style tags, and inside the templates, give it the create a container, and inside the container, give it the h2 and give it home page. Later on, we can create a page for it, but I'm good for now. Let's give it the name of home. All right, so that makes more sense. Even I need to create for the contact list as well. So for the contact list, let's create a very basic table. So what I'm gonna do here is, let's copy it from the app. First we can check everything is working or not. So I need to run that again, npm run dev. All right, so it's run, and now if I just refresh this, and you see now we have our contact page, and you see this hash. Now in order to remove that hash, we need to, the thing that I just need to do here is we need to pass here a mode. So that's the reason why I haven't shown you later, that we have to remove that hash. So in order to remove the hash, we need to add the mode history. So let's grab the object and pass right after it. All right, so we have add the mode history. Now we have to pass this navbar inside our app.vue, which is the main file, which is a single, because Vue is a single page application. So what actually I did here, I have done one thing wrong. It should be inside here. Right, so inside app.vue, I need to export default, and I don't need any styling. So that was actually the mistake that I passed inside the app.route. So I need to add the navbar. So let's go inside the div and pass here the navbar. So that should be the selector. It's very much identical to the Angular, right? So in Angular we pass here the selector. It's same. It's very much same to that. We are passing the name of the component, which is the navbar. And I am also passing here router-view for navigating my pages. So router-view and put slash. Okay, so inside that I need to import the navbar because we are using in this component. So let's pass here import. Let's import the navbar from the component, which is /component/navbar. Right, put the semicolon in. And let's give here name and pass here the app, and let's pass here the component, which is navbar, right? So let's give it here Navbar. All right, and saves it. I believe it's fine. All right, so let's run the npm run dev and keep sure that now this hash should not be included. So it's running, and let's refresh this again. Press the enter, and it says an error. It should says error in render, type error, cannot read property matched of undefined. So actually, yeah, I just forget to bring up where the router inside the app. So you need to do is to go just after the inside the extend, and where you have just initialized your new view. So just after that, just bring up here the router here, right? So I forget to bring up my router. So let's bring up here and see. All right, so I add the router. Let's run the npm run dev and check this out. Alright, so we have run that, and now just press enter, and you see now we have our navbar running. Okay, so I need to just close this up and go. If I go up on my home page, if I could just go to my contact page, so home and contact pages are working fine, right? So we are done with the contact and the home page. So but before I should jump directly to it, I need to first create a table inside the contact, and let's load all the data which we have created from the API and bring that inside our main contact page. So let's go into into my contact page. So I need to just close everything here. So let's close the home, let's close the navbar. We don't need any welcome. All right, so just open up the app.vue and the rest of contact list, right? All right, so here inside my container, I'm going to remove this h2. And I'm going to create here a heading. Let's grab this from my code. So I created here h2, give it the text of center, padding of 2, and text wide, background primary, and margin from the top to be 5. All right. So inside my table, let's get into the table. So I give it the class for the table, and inside table, I'm going to create here table head. And inside table head, I'm going to create here table rows. So we are working with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links. So let's grab these 6 links for now. And after that, I'm going to create here the table body. So let's grab here t body. And inside t body, we have our table records. And inside table records, I have a th. Let's give it here scope of row, and that should be the ID. So I'm going to grab here 1. Let's add first the static data, right? So I just don't know what happened here. So just align that all. Okay, so we have our ID, and on the second we have our name. Let's give it here AB Nation. Email should be test@gmail.com. Let's give it the designation to be test, and let's give it the contact number 555-555, and the action should be some buttons here. So let's here first create only one button. Let's create here a button for the danger. So let's create a button class of btn-danger. Give it the small btn-sm for small, and just add the label, right? So delete. All right, so let's save it and check this out how it looks. So I hope that's fine. Very basic table I've created. So I go to my contact page, and that looks like this. I don't know what happened to that button, and if I go back to the button, btn class for btn-danger, and right, so what happened to that button? So name, email, designation, contact number, and the action. When I hover on it, it shows me delete, but right, so it's very much in center. I need to fix this out. So go inside your welcome.play.php, and all I'm gonna do here is just remove these classes from the welcome. So I remove that all, and check this out. Even I don't need that height of 100 width, and let's run that again. All right, so this looks very much fine to me. All right, so we have our name, we have our email, designation, contact number, we have our delete button, which we will fix it. It might be some reason. If I go to my contact list, yeah, it should be. Oops, I actually add here table data. It should be TDs, right? Not the TH. So I need to fix this first. Let's add this button. I'm really sorry for that if you if you did the same mistake. Alright, so here I need to just only add the one for the scope of row, and rest should be all TDs. So I need TDs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times or 4 times, yeah. So let's give it here TDs. So TD multiply by 4 times, and that's going to show you. So let's first give it a test everywhere. I don't know what the data is, so save it, and definitely it's going to show you once I run the npm run dev. All right, so contact, yeah, now it looks fine to me. Okay, so we are good to go. Now we need to work with some of the hooks. So there are also the hooks which will be called at different stages of the instance life cycle, such as mounted. We will use mounted, we will use updated or destroyed. So all life cycle hooks are called with this context. And so if we are using mounted, so that means it should be DOM insertion. If we are using here mounted, it will execute before creating the component, and if we are using here created, so it will execute it after creating the component for rendering, right? So what I'm going to do here is inside the scripts we already defined the name, so I need to load the data first and mount it. So just after the name, I need to do here is to create a name of the method which is created. So this is basically, this will create and load the data, whatever the function or method which I will create. So let's create here another object with the name of method, and inside the methods I'm going to define my function. So let's give it the name of the function should be load data, and inside data I'm going to pass here URL. So this dot URL, we are accessing the URL, and all you're talking about from where this URL is coming from, so don't worry. So basically this URL should be passed after even I need to mount it, and with the help of mounted we can even console to see that everything works fine for us. So let's give it here contact list component mounted. All right, and after the mounted, pass the data. So I'm going to define here data, and that data should return the URL. So let's define here URL and document.head.query selector. So I'm using here a DOM selector to get my meta name of URL. So meta, let's pass here name equal to URL. So remember that what actually I'm doing here is if you go inside my welcome.blade.php, so this is the URL which we have the local host and the port number. So this query selector will grab the URL from the query selector. So I'm using here DOM selector, so meta name equal to URL, and that should contain the content. So it says an error. It says what? So URL document.head.query selector and the meta name equal to URL. So this is fine, I believe. Or yeah, it should be. This is the URL and square brackets and this actually is coming from the content. Oops, I don't need to bring here semicolon. We need to add the contacts as an array. So let's give it the context, all right, and save it. Okay, now let's grab the IP, the API URL. So this dot URL, and let's concatenate that. So bring here /API/get context, right? And afterward, you need to do is to pass here the axios with the help of HTTP to get the HTTP requests using get method. So here I'm getting the request, so I'm using here get method. So now let's get the response. So then response and this dot context, which is the array we passed here inside the data, and get the data as a response. So response dot data. So if I want to show you, like if I go to /API/get context, so this is all the data that we are getting it. So let's go to my home page and run the npm run dev. So check this out, and yeah, I need to call this function inside the created method. So just do that with the this object. So this dot load data, right, and make it as a method, saves it, right? So let's run that again and check it. Okay, so if I go to my inspect and go to my console, it says failed to load the server, responding with a status of 404. All right, so so if I just console this out, console.log this dot context, save it. So inside the methods, which should be closed there, right? So methods, we have the load data, we have our, yeah, something went wrong here. So I need to bring this here, right? Okay, so now if I just check this out, save it, and run it using npm run dev. Okay, so now we have our object of data, right? So you could see inside here we have our contact number, created ad, designation. So that's all the data that we are getting from the array of an object, right? So that includes the name, updated ad, designation. We have a bunch of properties, right? So we are getting the data, which is a good sign. Now next thing I'm here going to do inside my contact list.view component, and now because of this static data, we need to pass here the we need to loop the data and pass here. So here I'm using here the v-4 directive, which is like a loop. So v-4 and equal to the contact in contacts. So what actually it's saying is that body element represent a block. All right, so actually what I'm doing here is, so this is the table heading, which is fine, and this is the loop of data, and inside here I'm going to pass here the key as well. So okay, we can do it later. So v-4 equal to contact in contacts, and let's pass here the ID. So let's give it here contact dot ID. So we require v-4 key. So I need to bring up here the key, right? So colon key equal to contact.id. So it should contain the individual ID. Now it's the error removed, right? So we need the contact.id. We need here, let's pass up everything here. So this should be the name, right? And afterward we have the email, we have our designation with a small d, right? And the last thing that we have is the contact number. So give it here contact underscore number, which is the name of the column that we have. And we are good to go, I believe. Let's npm run dev and check this out. All right, so I go inside here. I need to bring, actually, because this collapse is not working, you can add here the Bootstrap Jquery script, which you can get from the getbootstrap.com. So just add this one and let's try that. All right, so inside your welcome, just after that, above to the app.js, right? Just keep that and now run the npm run dev to make sure that the Navbar should be working in responsive mode. Okay, so let's go to the home page, and now you see we have our Navbar running, and if I go to the home page, we can see we are inside home page. Why it's not showing any content? Let's go into the home.view, which is the home.view, and if I go here on my contact, so you could see that now we have our name, email, and contact number. So everything is coming from the API, right? So let's add another data and just to test this out, right? So let's test here, add here John. So John @gmail.com, and let's give it here test. Contact number should be something. Let's give here the designation and press the go. And now if I just refresh this, and now we can see we have our two datas, right? So it's coming from the API, everything is working fine. Now I just need to check why my home page is not running. It's just because of the data that we haven't rendered through the router, or it might be some other reason. It should because most of the space this Navbar occupy. So now I need to just change that Navbar brand to be Vue.js. Set that to be Vue.js, and let's give it here the styling, right? So there is a good way of doing style here. If I just use style scoped, and if I bring here head -1, even we are using heading -2, so let's give it this class and use inside the h2. So I use up here, and this actually means scope, that this class is only used for this specific component, right? So let's give it here text align, give it the text align center, and what's wrong here actually. Text align center and give it the margin, margin dash top. Let's give it the 30 pixel, right? And check this out, right? It should be inside the double, yeah. So that means I need to run that again. So let's run here again. So it's showing some error. Actually, I don't need this lang stylus, I believe. So just run that again. Alright, so let's go into your home page and refresh this. And now you could see something is going. Just make that margin a little more from the top. Give it the margin of 90, right? And just run that. It means that the pages are working fine. It actually, the navbar is very much wide and narrow. So we can do it later on, but we have done the very first thing, which is that we are good to go with our component. We set the routers, we set the components, we have load the view, and we pass the data using the axios as a request. And I think so that's it for this video. And in the next video, I'm going to explain you that how we can add the data. So thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I want to see you for the next part.